Chad Yakobson, owner and brewmaster here at Crooked Stave Artisan Beer Project. We're in Denver, Colorado. Crooked Stave is really a unique culmination. It's a culmination of my master's dissertation. So it was done in brewing research, and it was done on Brettanomyces yeast. So we really got our start from me taking my master's dissertation and really looking at, okay, this research is great, but is it something that's actually applicable in the brewing industry? And from that really is the grounds that we ran on to create Crooked Stave and to get to where we are now. The foundation of Crooked Stave really rests heavily on wild, sour, barrel-aged Brettanomyces beers. So building upon 100% Brettanomyces beers, but really making barrels the focal point. So, as we sit here, we've got the large foeders behind us. That's really what makes Crooked Stave unique and has been since day one. When we got started, there was really one other brewery that focused entirely on wild, sour, barrel-aged beers. And from there, it's really grown into a massive industry. That was something that we hung our hat on from the beginning, was producing Brettanomyces beers, producing wild, sour beers, and growing from there the type of beers we've made. So for us, it's really neat because where we sit as a brewery, we make beers that are not perceived or have not been perceived to go into a can. Brettanomyces wild sour beers. These are beers that generally go into large format, cork and cage bottles. They can age for a really long time. The perception has always been this very, very high end in a 750 ml bottle, and that's always kind of been tradition and history. We sit in a unique place, I think, in Colorado, but also within the craft brewing industry, where cans have grown. 5 years ago, cans weren't nearly as accepted as they are now. 10 years ago, it was almost unheard of in the craft brewing industry. And so it's a really unique place, not just in Colorado where we are, but also nationwide. So as we got up and going, we brewed the first batches in early 2011. So it puts us just about at 7 years old now. I have a note in my phone still to this day from October 11th, 2011, which said, "Put St. Bread in a can." So as we got going, we really wanted to test the Brettanomyces, what we could do with these beers. We brewed a series of beers based on the rainbow. We called it the Wild Wild Bretts. And we'd had Wild Wild Brett Orange. And this was this beer that's, brought together like a Belgian wit with old world Saison and Brettanomyces characteristics. Completely drinkable, but also something that, thinking outside of the box, we're like, this is something that we could put in a can. So I had this note from 2011, put St. Bread in a can. It took until 2017, so a mere 6.5 years later or so, and we were putting it in a can. And so that's really, I think, really kind of forward thinking for the beers that we make, looking at taking Brettanomyces beers, wild sour beers, and putting them in a can and making them approachable. That's what's amazing about the can, and that has grown to a point with technology and with the industry where it's accepted and we can do that. So with being able to automate decal and automate canning line, it was really what we looked at from the beginning. So for us, we are relatively a really small brewery. And I think that's something that will always stick with us because of the types of beers we make and what we're doing. But again, it's relative to how you operate and what you do. So for us, it's always been about quality. One of the most important things within our vision, within our mission at our brewery is quality never compromising. And that was a big thing for us before we went into cans, but then also looking at that process of how we went into cans. So we knew that if we were going to go into a canning line, we needed to be able to beat any of our DOs, TPO, and really get that down. And that's not just the canning line itself, but that's the entire process all the way through. We knew we needed seamless integration from the beginning to the end. And that's something that SCA was able to offer us, and it was something that we were able to have, especially with that decal. Great recognition here in Colorado, great recognition amongst craft brewers, and that was something that we knew we could put our trust in as we got up and going with that to get the line that we really needed. So for us, relationships are really important. Who we work with are important. Integrity of who we work with is important. And that's something that we've built over the years with SCA and SCA Fabrication. There's a personal side that, as an entrepreneur, I love seeing people branch out. I love seeing people create new businesses. But we're also going to work with the most quality manufacturer we can, who's going to be able to work with us and build that relationship with us. Scott put that first and foremost right away. It was great, the attention to detail that they had, the attention they had in our project, what they wanted to be able to bring to it. So it's easy to work with someone that you like, that you respect, but also is going to put quality in the same way. We knew that if we wanted to tweak, if we wanted to change things, if we wanted to make it, what we call our stave standard, they were willing to work with us. Ultimately, there really wasn't anything like that we needed to do because they've already been doing it for all these years. They've already thought it through. And so we were able to pick the package we wanted that worked for us and have it built. Our brewery is very interesting. As you wander through, as you check everything out, attention to detail and focus are paramount. And with that comes quality. Quality first, never compromising. We really sometimes even sweat the small stuff as it gets put. We have to within our process. There's too much room for beer to be able to change, beer to be able to become something we don't want it to be. We end up handling the beer 5 times more just because of all the barrels, all the projects, everything we do. But therefore, we really blend science and art. Science, quality, attention to detail, being able to observe everything all the way through, but then being able to take the art to be able to taste, blend, put things together. And we really showcase that all the way through. We like the versatility. So whenever we're looking at a project, there's today, but just as important, if not more important, is the future. With the canning line that we've got up, but all of the equipment from Scott Fabrication that we've been able to build out on it, we know that we can continue to use that past this line. If we want to bring in new canning lines to work faster, to continue that automation level, all of that's there with our Scott equipment. If we want to be able to change our pack out system, change anything in line, it's all built so that we can be able to do that, add in, add to it, continue to grow. So we're not cornered into any one piece of equipment that we can't use later down the line. That was really important to me in being able to do that, knowing that, okay, hey, this works for this line, but the versatility of this continues to grow, continues to be able to do more, and we can continue to add on as we develop. So where I see the industry as a whole, even with sour beer and especially with Denver, it's unique. We've got a lot of really good breweries here in Denver making some amazing sour beers. So it's a really cool thing to be able to be a part of. But also on a national stage and on a world stage, see it continuing to develop. More and more people are getting into it, so more and more competitiveness. That's what I think brings us a bit of a competitive edge to the cans. We have something that's really exciting. In February, we'll be launching our first full barrel-aged sour in cans. It'll be available in 6-pack year-round. And that's something that I've yet to hear anyone really be able to do. So that would be unfathomable years ago to do that and to say, hey, we're going forward with this sour in cans and going to launch this way and going to be competitive and play into the market. I think it's a really great thing for consumers and for people alike. That's canning and the revolution of canning that really makes that available. I would absolutely recommend Scott to our fellow craft brewing people. That's a really easy one to say too, because everybody around us also recommends Scott. I'm fortunate to have employees who have worked with Scott equipment at 3 or 4 other breweries, give or take each person's experience. So it's something also that the reputation and all of that supersedes itself. So yeah, I'll recommend it just like everyone recommended it to us.